Imagine erasing an entire species from history, only to realize 300 years later that you got the story completely wrong. We've always been told the dodo died out because it was a sluggish fool, but new DNA research from the Nicobar pigeon suggests this bird was actually an agile, evolutionary success story. Now, a billion-dollar biotech project is attempting to use that same DNA to bring the dodo back from the dead. But to understand how they'll return, we first have to uncover the brutal truth of how they really left. Let's start with a tragedy that sounds like a bad joke. In 1755, at Oxford University, a curator decided the museum's stuffed dodo specimen was looking a bit moldy, so he ordered it to be thrown into a bonfire. That was the last complete set of soft tissue remains in the entire world. Gone. Because of that fire, for centuries all we had were sketches and oil paintings done by sailors or artists who had never actually seen the bird in the wild. You know the image, a fat, clumsy, dumping bird. But modern science says that's a lie. Those paintings likely depicted captive birds that were overfed on ships or badly stuffed skins that had bloated. When biomechanists analyzed the skeletal structure, they found a bird that was athletic. It was lean, stood over 3 feet tall, and could navigate the rocky, treacherous terrain of the Mauritian forests with ease. The dodo wasn't a mistake, it was a masterpiece of island evolution. To understand the dodo, you have to understand its home, Mauritius, a tiny island in the Indian Ocean. For millions of years, Mauritius was a paradise with zero predators. No tigers, no wolves, not even large reptiles. Because there was nothing to run from, the dodo's ancestors, who were actually pigeons, stopped flying. They grew large, weighing up to 50 pounds, because there was no evolutionary penalty for being heavy. And here is the biggest myth of all, that they were stupid. Brain scans of dodo skulls show their brain to body size ratio is identical to modern pigeons. And pigeons are actually frighteningly smart. They can recognize human faces and pass self-awareness tests. The dodo wasn't dumb, it was just naive. There is a biological difference. If you live on an island where nothing has tried to kill you for 2 million years, you don't evolve a fear response. You don't run away because you don't know what an enemy is. But that innocence became a death sentence in 1598. That's when Vice Admiral Wybrand van Warwick and a fleet of Dutch sailors stepped onto the beach. The sailors were baffled. These giant birds just walked up to them. The sailors killed them, of course. But contrary to popular belief, humans didn't eat the dodo into extinction. The Dutch actually called them walgvogel, which translates to tasteless bird or sickly bird. The meat was tough and greasy. Sure, sailors ate them for variety, but they preferred the local parrots. If humans didn't eat them all, what happened? We brought the apocalypse with us. On those ships were rats, pigs, dogs, and crab-eating macaques. This is the critical flaw. Dodos nested on the ground, and they laid only one single egg at a time. Pigeons invest heavily in a few offspring rather than many. For millions of years, a ground nest was safe. Suddenly, with pigs rooting up the earth and rats eating the eggs, the dodo reproduction rate crashed to zero. It was a mathematical inevitability. The adults lived on for a while, but no new generation was born to replace them. It happened terrifyingly fast. Discovered in 1598, the last widely accepted sighting was in 1662. In less than a human lifetime, an entire species vanished. By the time we realized what we'd done, they were myth. Lewis Carroll turned the dodo into a character in Alice in Wonderland. Historians think it was a caricature of himself, Charles Dodgson, because of his stammer. He'd introduce himself as Dodo Dodgson, but the story doesn't end in 1662. Today, we're on the brink of rewriting the ending. A company called Colossal Biosciences, the same people trying to bring back the woolly mammoth, has announced a project to de-extinct the dodo. Remember the Nicobar pigeon? That beautiful bird with the iridescent feathers? It is the dodo's closest living relative. Scientists have sequenced the dodo genome from that lonely skull in Copenhagen. The plan is to use CRISPR gene editing technology to tweak the Nicobar pigeon's DNA to match the dodo's. They would then implant these modified cells into a surrogate host, likely a chicken, to hatch a proxy dodo. This isn't just about playing God or Jurassic Park tourism. The goal is to rewild Mauritius. The dodo was a gardener. It dispersed seeds and shaped the forest. Bringing it back could heal an ecosystem we broke centuries ago. The dodo didn't die because it was stupid. It died because it trusted us. And while we can't undo the year 1662, science might just give us a chance to make an apology. Thanks for watching.